Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's going on here in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten. It's a pleasure to welcome you back on this supposedly spring weather, but feels more like winter still. And today I'm very pleased to have as my special guest, Col.Kevin Jordan, from Fishing Game. And so big happenings over there coming up. You got your big free day for boys and girls and adults to come over and see what's going on at the Fishing Game Department. And
Discover Wild New Hampshire Day is it's a huge event. That'll happen again on the 21st this year, like it always does, and it's always well attended.
Oh yeah,
we've been getting in excess of 8,000 people there each year. So
and that's over in Hazen Drive. Then.
It is right at our campus.
Just there.
It is. And it's a full day's worth of events. It's nice for a family to come with kids. There's no cost for it, unless you buy food. They sell a little food there, but there's no cost to get in. They have a whole bunch of activities for the kids to participate in. Kids of all ages, from young children to teenagers.
But no amusement rides.
No. We've got live animals there. They'll bring in dogs, trained dogs. We have our canine units there, putting on demonstrations all day. A lot of demonstrate.
No bears.
No. But we'll have the National Guard helicopter will be there. There'll be a lot of different things going on. It's a great day, actually.
Oh, I know. I can see the traffic over there.
And it never ceases to amaze me the number of people that come out for it and return each year. So it's a good event.
So why don't you have a big building? I guess I shouldn't say as a state representative, but I mean, I look over at Hazen Drive, and I can go back years and years ago when Hazen Drive wasn't even there.
Right.
But then they built it, and it was just the state police. Well, they were over there in the Morton building first.
Correct.
Then they built the state police building down below there.
Yeah.
And that was the only building out there.
Yeah.
Then they created health and welfare, or the
Health and Human Services. Yeah.
Then they kind of moved you out there, I guess, because your building burnt down there on
actually it was
exit 14.
I don't remember, the anniversary date was Sunday that happened. I don't remember how many years ago it was, but it was they had an awful fire.
Oh yeah, man! You can see the flames coming out and it's odd because it was a brick building.
Yeah,
right on the riverbank.
It was, yeah.
And when they said the Fishing Game building was on fire, I said, huh?
Yeah.
But it was. The flames are coming out the windows.
Yeah.
And,
it was a bad fire. We lost a lot of stuff, a lot of records, a lot of stuff we never were able to get back. So this is a nice facility. We haven't outgrown it. Storage-wise, we have a lot of equipment that we use due to the job, actually. So storage-wise, we could use more. But the building itself we're kind of tucked away in the corner there at Hazen Drive. It's a good spot. Right along the riverbank.
Yeah, I know.
So it's a good area.
But it just seems like it. Everybody else, it seems like they got a big building, and you're out there. And
it's a little smaller.
Yeah, I mean.
It is. They've got a nice Discover Wild New Hampshire room downstairs. If anyone has ever been to Discovery Room, a lot of kids come there for field trips. We've got animals set up and some interactive type little projects stations they can visit and learn about the different resources that we have in New Hampshire. So that gets visited a lot throughout the day. So every day by school groups, busloads of school groups will come in for that. So it's a little local field. They use it as a little local field trip, which is nice. So again, exposing kids to the animals and how they live in New Hampshire. So it's a good program.
Well, it's good though, but. Now, have you started stocking ponds yet?
They have. They just started down here because the ponds have thawed out enough. They haven't up north yet, in the northern part of the state. But they're stocking certainly from, I don't know if they're up as high as Plymouth, but close, south in some of the ponds. Because the season opens a week after Discover Wild New Hampshire Day. So the fourth Saturday in April, the fishing season for the trout ponds officially opens. So we like to have them all stocked at least once for that date. But this year, the weather hasn't been very cooperative.
Oh, I know.
It's cold, and I went by a hot hole pond today, earlier today, and there's still ice on the shorelines of some of that. So, yeah.
What about Turtle Town Pond?
That one has opened up.
It has opened up?
Yes, that's opened up, yeah. For the most part. There's still some ice in places, but it's open, yeah.
I know. I mean, this year has been so cold and
Hates to
stuff.
go.
No, I mean, even Winnipesaukee isn't going to be open
No.
ice-free for
That's right.
a couple of weeks.
I just saw
probably.
that. Yeah. No, it's going to be a while. It's just because of the cold temperatures
Oh, I
and
know
the
it.
cold nights we still had, and that's just the way it is in New Hampshire, I guess, whether we like it or not.
Because they claim ice out is when the Mount Washington can reach
All
all
its
its ports there,
Yeah.
all ports of call and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to be a while for that when you go by there. So
I know.
But all it takes is a string of warm days and a little bit of wind, and it changes everything. So it's coming. We're getting into mid-April, close to mid-April. So it's going to start happening.
Now, when I saw Scott one time when I was out riding there one day a few years ago with one of the, I think maybe it was, I can't think of his name.
One of the officers,
Yes. Who was the sergeant?
Adam Cheney,
No, keep going. He's been here with us for a while.
Scott Lacrosse.
No, it wasn't him. He was stalking Merrimack River.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
with, was it trout?
Probably trout at that time. Yeah, yeah.
Where do they go? And they stay right in that area?
Oh, they'll stay in the river. Yeah, we have a good trout. Won't go that far actually. We have a pretty good
salmon,
return
or?
rate. No, it'll be trout.
Trout.
And we have a pretty good return rate on those. That's the only fish that we raise now, for the most part, for stocking of trout. So
Really?
yeah, warm water fish, bass, pickerel, we don't raise. Those come naturally in the state. But trout, brown trout, rainbow trout, and brook trout are what we put out, what we stock.
Now, do you stock fish over? Do you stock them over at Turtletown Trout?
Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
Yes, Turtletown gets rainbows, I believe. Limited amount of rainbows. A lot of Turtletown is warm water species.
Yeah.
So
Well, I know that's where we used to go hornpout
yeah,
when I was a kid.
yeah.
You know, the area that I find is so I can't understand it is Sugar Ball.
Yeah,
Because when I was a kid, my grandfather used to put a boat down there on the shore.
yeah,
And he'd go fishing by himself down there.
right.
It didn't go into the Merrimack that we could ever see down in there.
Ah, yeah, I don't
But
know.
now-
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And years ago, and I don't know what happened, but years ago when you drove down in there, there used to be an entrance to the pond. And there was like bars against the thing, and you just pushed them back.
Mhm.
Where is it gone? Has somebody blocked it out?
They probably. What happens in a lot? I don't know what's happened there, but I know in a lot of places, if you don't lock those places down, they become dump sites. Unfortunately, when the landfills started restricting what people could bring to the dump, refrigerators and tires started turning up everywhere. And so a lot of these landowners realized that if we've got a road that, with a gate that people can get in out of sight, it becomes their little dump site. So a lot of places lock it out for that reason, which is too bad. But they won't lock or restrict. They restrict wheeled access. They don't lock people out of it essentially, but they'll restrict the ability for a vehicle to get down to dump a load of garbage, which is not a bad thing. So
Because he used to go down there fishing,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it was like somebody's blocked it up or whatever.
Yeah, that's
you
probably
can't get
why.
on in there.
Probably why. And ATVs sometimes, if you have open places like that and you have an ATV trail close by, they'll access it too. So they'll block them or restrict the access for that reason too. So there's a lot of places in New Hampshire that's happened to across the state.
Now you do what else do you do? Lake Joe Sylvia up in Hopkins, Concord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we do all of the. That's in District 4, that particular pond. The ones you were describing earlier are all in District 5. We have 6 districts in the state. And those ponds you just described are in District 4, the western corner. They're starting to stock the southern end of that. Anything south of Plymouth, we've been able to get some fish in, but anything north, we've not yet.
Now the Warren hatchery, did they close that, or is that still?
No, that went through that flood and got a lot of damage, but it's still open and operational. They did a lot of repair work. It qualified for some of the federal grants to repair it, so they got it back up and running. And that's a very valuable hatchery to that side of the state. That they stock a lot of fish out of that hatchery.
Really?
So we didn't want to lose that. Yeah, it flushed it out in good shape. A lot of those fish got away in the flooding. Went down the brook. I can't remember the name of the brook that's right there, but it went down the brook.
Baker River.
Baker River. Yep.
Yeah.
But that doesn't do any harm. That's what we raise them for. So they're back in full operation now, for the most part. So yeah, I made a mess up there.
I mean, this spring it's been to me, and now they claim the bears are out.
They are, yeah.
Attacking bird feeders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it with them. What do they see in bird seed?
Well, you know what? I can't explain that except they're a high protein source. But you know, the only thing I tell people is when you're out in the woods and you're waiting for berries and the buds to come out. Of course, this year they're late, and you have this supply of protein that they can smell and like. It doesn't take them long to figure out, hey, I can hit a neighborhood, an urban little area around a neighborhood and get full without a lot of effort and without anyone bothering me for the most part, because we're not bothering them, you know. We scare them off, they just go to the next house and hit that bird feeder. So it becomes a regular buffet, if you will, for a black bear. So they take full advantage of it. And it, you know, some people think it's fun to see them, and it is until they become a problem. They're very aggressive, and if that food source runs out, they start looking for it, and that's when they can get themselves into trouble. They look at garbage, they pull doors off of sheds, and you know, they get really aggressive looking for that food source, and that's when they become a problem. We have some places around the state where they've been a real problem. Fortunately, in Concord we haven't. Although I get complaints in Concord, but not as many as I do in other places.
I would absolutely die if I ever looked out my window and saw a bear on the deck or something or whatever.
They're a wild animal, and when you bring a wild animal into an urban setting, it's dangerous. You know, they're not going to eat children. I think television kind of gives them a bad reputation. They're not aggressive. They're very lazy, actually. They're just looking to eat. That's their main focus in the morning until they go to bed at night, and is to fill their stomachs, and they'll go wherever they need to go to get that food. What scares me about them, what concerns me about them, is people surprising them. They can be defensive. You know, if you came out on a deck and surprised one, and he wanted to get off the deck, you could get injured as he bolts to get out of there. So that kind of encounter bothers me. But they're not particularly dangerous, but they're a wild animal. So I prefer to have them in the woods rather than on a street. So
and of course the bear cubs, if there's a cub around,
it's a little worse because they're a little more aggressive. So again, bears make. I've dealt with them for years, and they will make many more threats than really their bark is far worse than their bite for the most part. I mean, they'll threaten a lot before they'll take action, because they have great success doing that. So they do a thing called a false charge, where they'll run at you, turn at the last second to bolt away in an effort to scare you off. But it's intimidating if you've never seen it, and you know, to have a black bear bearing down on you at a high rate of speed running towards you will tend to make you a little bit nervous and change your behavior pattern. So but thankfully they're not like grizzlies. They're not aggressive. They don't come after people, which grizzlies do. So you know, it's a good thing, because we'd have a lot of people injured.
Seems like this year at the legislature we heard several bills about fishing game.
You did, yeah.
And I can't remember. Was there one about having a gaming area or something, or?
No, they had they had a lot of search and rescue bills. They had 2 or 3 bills regarding payment of search and rescue. They had they had some wildlife cruelty, animal cruelty bills that came in that were defeated because they were not well, in my opinion, not well thought out, and the legislature agreed. We had 4 or 5, I guess, total, something like that. They had a lot of gun legislation, like they always do.
That I do know.
Yeah, there was a lot of gun legislation.
Yes, and there was one of them involving ATVs, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. The House approved carrying a loaded gun on an ATV, or repealing that law, which is insane. But they did that, so that has to go through the Senate. It hasn't passed the Senate yet. If it passes in the Senate, then anyone can get on a snow machine or an ATV with a loaded long gun and ride. And so that's concerning to me. You know, that's a family sport.
I know.
And you're just inducing a large, you could be inducing a large dangerous element to that.
And with all that problems that it's created lately with these schools.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think they'd be a little leery about it, but.
Yeah. Well, it's two different groups, really. I mean, it's the gun rights advocates for the Second Amendment people, and I understand that. I wouldn't have a problem with it, to be honest with you, if everyone were well trained in the use and safety of a firearm. But unfortunately, there's nothing in any of these bills to do that. So anyone, whether they have experience with a gun or not, can go out and purchase a rifle, load it, and throw it on the front of an ATV and ride. And that's unnerving when you're on uneven terrain and they're not secured in any fashion, and it just could go off. That's the problem. And the trained individual is probably not going to be a problem. It's the people that aren't trained that concern me. So, and we cover accidents from those things. So what's going to happen in an accident?
Did they try to take away your arrest powers, or was that the fire marshal?
No, they did both. They did the fire marshals, and there was a bill in this year early in the House session. It was defeated pretty resoundingly regarding our search and seizure powers. They had done that same bill a few years ago, and it was defeated, and it was defeated again this year. I think it's a handful of representatives that didn't understand what our powers exactly consisted of. People think we have these extraordinary powers for search and seizure, and we don't. Our powers are not a lot different than anyone else's. All law enforcement in New Hampshire is pretty equal, because we have courts that check that. That's the benefit of going to court. So, but that was one, but it got you defeated that on the House floor. Again, in committee, and then you guys on the floor supported it.
Seems like we just voted on a bill last week on for fishing game. Or 2 weeks ago, and I don't remember what it was.
I think it was that ATV bill, probably.
It could have been.
Yeah.
And I thought, boy, I get a little bit late. Come back. Well, of course, there again, it's coming from the Senate over.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. They come in from both sides. So we just got the announcement the other day. We got another third season coming for Northwoods Law. They want to do a third season now, the TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was interesting. The ratings have been really high, and I was kind of hopeful that last year would be the end of it, because it's a lot of work. But they want to do another season, so we'll be doing 10 or 12 more episodes this next fall.
Now, where are they going to be focused on this time?
I don't know. They end up embedding photographers or cameramen and producers with select officers and they film all summer into the fall, and then they go back to New York and they put together these shows and send them to me to edit. So who knows what they're going to do? They had a big variety last year. I'm assuming it'll be the same this year.
You've got to edit it?
I edit it all. Yeah, I have the last edit rights on what they create, which is what I wanted. I wanted the ability to have some decision-making process in what's shown and how it's shown. So we look at each one about 8 or 9 times.
Are you answering your fan mail?
Oh yeah, every day. I answer a bunch today.
You're getting fan mail?
I do not. We get a lot of it, and I don't ignore one. If it's everything from a 6-year-old kid who writes a letter to an adult who wants to know where we got the coats we're wearing, I answer every one. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time involved in that. The major and the captain helped me with it, but it's still a lot of time for the three of us to do all of that. And so that's why I was kind of hopeful that last season was going to be it. Although I enjoy the show, it's a lot of extra work. We're going to go another season. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
We get a lot of fan mail. We went to Lincoln Friday night. We had a meet and greet with the officers. We had over 300 people there. So we've had those all over the state, and they're standing room only. It's amazing to me.
Now, you're not the one that hires that guy that just passed away up there at the backwoods man there, the haulers at Lincoln's Trading Post.
No, the Wolfman, that's a private company up there, yeah. Yeah, that was sad.
He was young.
He had been there a long time. And
he was young
that was Clark's Training Bears that hires him. That's a private entity. Yeah, nothing to do with us.
So where do them bears come from?
What's that?
Where do those bears come from that they have?
Those are, years and years ago, Fish and Game gave them wild bears, but we stopped doing that better than 20 years ago. So all the bears up there have been born in captivity. They're not wild bears. They're all domesticated bears, which is good because you're not locking up a wild animal.
Yeah, but is there any way is it possible that those bears could revert back to be wild?
It would be difficult for them
It would
because
be.
they've come to rely on people feeding them and housing them, and they would have to learn that in the wild. And I don't know that they could. That would be an easy thing for them to do.
Wow.
See, bears start learning just like children. They start learning from the day they're born with their mother. They stay with their mother for 2 years, up until they're young adults, really, before they're released. And these bears have been, and if you take these adult bears at Clark's, they've been in captivity all that time. So they don't know anything about denning. They don't know a lot about gathering wild food because they sit in their pens and food's brought to them. So
Where do they go in the wintertime?
they have a place built behind their home, and they built caves and dens for these bears to go into.
Up
And
there, Lincoln.
They
North
do.
Woodstock?
Yeah,
Really?
they stay right there. Yeah, yeah. It's a pretty well-run operation,
Oh.
but again, it's all domesticated, home-raised bears. So
Yeah.
there's no wild. Hasn't been a wild bear there in many, many years. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we get calls on that every once in a while. People think that it's cruel and we should go out and release those bears. And actually, it would be cruel if you released them. They
Yeah,
probably
because
wouldn't
if they're
survive.
domesticated, yeah.
They wouldn't survive. So, because they're not wild bears, they're domestic. They're black bears like we have, but they're not wild. So, yeah, they
So
put
we
on a
got-
heck of a show.
Yeah, I haven't been there in years.
Yep.
But when I guess actually I haven't been there since my folks, I guess. But we used to see him climbing up on top there
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, to
but,
go for the food. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but so what's up for hunting season now, or it's coming into spring?
We haven't got anything open now.
Nothing,
Well,
just-
turkey season will open in May, the 1st of May. That'll open up. And coyotes go year round, so you can hunt coyotes now. But other than that, there's not much. Now we're shifting gears into fishing, and ATV season will start in May once the mud dries up. And that'll go full bore for the summer. Search and rescue all summer. That's pretty much year round. And boating will become bigger as it gets, hopefully gets
Yeah.
warmer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a busy summer. Last summer was. A lot
Well,
of
the
people come
weather's
to New
been
Hampshire.
so raunchy.
Right, I know.
I mean, it's just
Yeah,
I don't know, but well, you figure April is almost half over with,
right.
and we'll be into May.
Yeah, that's why I say it's going to change. It's just being stubborn this year and going late. I think everybody's tired of it too. It's been a long winter.
Yeah, I think
Everybody's
so.
frustrated with it.
Yeah, I think so too. There.
Ready to rake their lawns and mow their lawns and get back to summertime events.
Yeah, it doesn't seem possible. I
No.
mean, this year March I thought went quickly
Yeah,
compared to the other years when March would drag. But
yeah. Now, are you done at the legislature?
No, well, my committee's done.
Yeah.
We've been done for the last 2 months, I guess.
Oh, you have, yeah.
We didn't have much on that committee.
Huh. I know a lot of the bills went through at a faster pace this year, it seemed like.
It seemed like it,
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, we've got meetings the next couple of weeks, and then in May, a couple of and then of course that's about it.
Right.
Because usually in election year they'll end up early, because
Yeah,
filing
everybody wants-
period opens up the 1st of June.
Now you're going to run again?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
good.
I'm planning on running again.
Good.
I hope to get reelected from this board, but
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just hope, as I said to some the other day, is I hope that maybe this year with the group will get back in, we'll get in the majority, and maybe I can show what I could do as a committee. But I'd like to go back on transportation. If not, maybe I'd go back on fish and game again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just that I like being busy, and this committee was not busy at all,
Right. Yeah.
which I was surprised in a way.
Yeah, you would think it would have been.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that transportation, that they can.
I think you're going to see some changes over there in the political field, I would expect. I think, you never know how that's going to work, but
I do
you're
too.
gonna see some changes.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But now you have budget. They didn't really, because they didn't have a budget this year for you to work.
No,
on this
we're
year.
working on the same one we created last year. We're about ready to begin, believe it or not, we're about ready to start on the next one. We start in the last budget. We start a new budget in the last year of the old budget. So we'll be starting this summer, late summer. Doesn't seem
Wow.
possible.
Oh, I know it.
But that'll be a battle. It's always a battle.
Yeah.
for all state agencies to get what they need and how they need it, you know, because we're trying to do more with less.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And there's they want services, they cost money, unfortunately. So
This thing with the Cog Railway, now I know they shut it down this winter because of something happening with one of the cars or the engine or something. But are they going to be able? Are you having a say about them building this hotel up
they
there?
asked for our input on it, and we had an opportunity to express our concerns about creating an environment where people could leave the hotel to go up to the summit for a small hike, and how dangerous that could be depending on the season. And we have been assured that they would work with us to address some of those concerns. But that's really been all of we have very minimal input in it, very minimal.
Well, we're coming to a close of Around Town there, Colonel, and good luck on your big Discover New Hampshire Day on April 21st.
21st, thank you, yeah.
What time it start? 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock in the morning, it'll go, I believe, until 4 in the afternoon. But yeah, in that time frame, right over here at Hazen Drive in
Good.
Concord. So yeah, it's a good day.
Drive,
It's a great opportunity for kids to enjoy it.
And it's free, so come on over there and enjoy all they've got to offer, and you'll see some, wild animals, or you'll see some stuffed wild animals.
Yeah,
and
canines.
Yeah. So, and don't be afraid to give Colonel Jordan a call over there at 271
3128.
3128. So,
Yeah.
with that in mind, thank you to my director Ian Marx, and again thanks to Colonel Jordan for coming in. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon on Around Town. I'm your host, Dick Patten.